Hey everybody, welcome to Secular Sports. I just want to give you a few quick updates. Obviously, Anquan Boldin just retired and frankly proved that Tyrod Taylor wasn't exactly the problem. Bolden retiring kind of shows that he knew that it was time to leave. He couldn't really beat any corners that were under the age of 30, and the fact that he had a below 10-yard per catch average last year in Detroit, it showed that he shouldn't have been considered at all by Buffalo. I liked watching him as a player. I thought that he was a very physical and threatening guy, but there are stats that show that he is a Hall of Famer, such as 1,000 catches, 10,000 yards, but he doesn't have 100 career touchdowns. Some of that has to do with the fact that he only had a couple of elite quarterbacks like Kurt Warner, one Super Bowl winning quarterback like Joe Flacco, and a Super Bowl runner up quarterback, his former teammate and the most unfairly blackballed guy in sports, if not one of the most unfairly blackballed guys in sports, Colin Kaepernick, who I think could help out a new team outside of Jacksonville, who probably will not consider him. The Pittsburgh Steelers had Josh Dobbs on the field today against the Atlanta Falcons, and it didn't exactly look pretty. Dobbs has been having a lot of trouble throwing the ball. He was 10 of 19 today and threw an interceptions. And even though he is a really bright kid, he's considered to be academically accomplished as an aeronautical engineer, and he, I believe, has a few more courses to go before he gets his degree. Having him be a possible backup to Ben Roethlisberger, who's undecided on retirement, is not exactly the right solution. And Landry Jones, we know that he has never been all that great of a player, and there might be one guy on the street who could not only be a good substitute, but a welcome player and somebody who could fit in based on past precedent. Michael Vick was acquired by the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 years ago, and he was not as bad of a player in comparison to Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick, as a backup to Ben Roethlisberger, could be good because he would not only make a good substitute for a guy whose body is breaking down, Roethlisberger, but he could be the future. He's not even 30 years old yet, and Mike Tomlin, has a way of accepting different kinds of players onto his team, Mike Vick included, and with the Charlottesville tragedy taking place and the fact that a lot of detractors of Trump of Kaepernick, excuse me, are Trump supporters, we're pretty much saying that racism has won. I think that it's growing, somewhat growing now that the Donald Trump base and defenders of him and people who try to equate loving all races to racism in any way, in any way, including the defense of the many sides comment, they're pretty much saying that racism is welcome. If Colin Kaepernick remains blackballed, and you also have a bunch of owners not exactly seeking their money to come back, they're pretty much saying that racism wins. And when the nation becomes racist, the people who stand up against racial inequality, racial disparate outcomes, those kind of people need to go. When the moral people must be given a chance, and when their talent deserves them chances, especially in comparison to the Austin Davises, even the Thaddeus Lewises, and other inept quarterbacks, it's time that a team give Kaepernick a chance, and Pittsburgh should be that team. This would be a very low risk, high return kind of a proposition. And there is a benefit for Kaepernick. He could learn how to play from the pocket if he sits behind Ben for at least 1 year. It could be like Michael Vick in Philadelphia, except a little bit longer, because Colin Kaepernick, in comparison to Michael Vick, has actually been proven to be a more consistent thrower, and in comparison to Michael Vick, has actually been to a Super Bowl.